Kimberly. Welcome to Simply Living in a Small Town. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday or has had a wonderful Friday. This is not the Friday FOs video. So, I didn't have FOs for this Friday. But I would like to welcome everyone watching, whether you've been following along or you're a new watcher. I would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. And speaking of that, YouTube has been doing this thing where it has been unsubscribing people. So you might want to check and see if you're still subscribed, if you had already subscribed. I know there's been several channels that I wasn't receiving notifications from, and I had looked up and I was unsubscribed, which is really kind of annoying that YouTube keeps doing that. But anyway, so you might want to check that out. Oh, she laid my stuff behind me. So I wanted to just come on and show you real quick. This is probably not going to be a very long video at all. But I just wanted to come on here real quick and show you what I have been working on today. Just a little bit, because I have not been doing like tons of crocheting like I'm used to. But, sorry, I have been doing some here and there. So, I have started making these cute little peeps. And they're just little tiny peeps, basically. This is the only one. Come on. Come on. Sorry. This is the only one that I have like all sewn up and stuff. I don't have the eyes on it yet, and I guess it's the nose. And I do not have safety eyes, which is what the tutorial calls for. I am going to just sew some little eyes on and whatnot. So there's that. And I'm trying to get the rest of this together. So I have two more. These are not sewn up, so they're a little bit wonky looking. But here's a little green one. Like I said, see, that's a little wonky because it's two pieces, if you can see that, of the same thing that you make. That's the body, and then you sew these together as one piece. Well, and then I put this little stitch marker on here, because when I start sewing them together, I just start at the bottom and then single crochet around, and then it kind of helps hold this together. I mean, you could put one on the other side too if you wanted to or whatever, but so there's that one. And then I have a third one, and I'm telling you, these look super wonky. These look super wonky until they're sewed together, because the little pink one looked, this is still attached to my yarn because I've already started sewing this one together. But this is goofy, but oh my goodness, it seriously does. It's just so wonky. But so that's that one. It's like a bright pink. Now, so these are from the Ends Craft kit that I had showed here a while back. That was a cute little kit of these little yarn balls that came in that kit, in that little bag and stuff, and it had a couple hooks with it, I think like 10 stitch markers or whatnot. And so that's what I am using, like, is those little balls of yarn for these little bunnies. Now I want to make some more, so in other words, by next week's, like Friday FOs, that would be next week. I will put together and show you like all, you know, like all the little bunnies I've made, because I showed some here a while back. It was like 2 weeks ago, that were like, look like little appliques, and those were a bag o' day crochet pattern. This one here, I can't remember the lady's name, I'm sorry right now, but I will link her tutorial in the description box of this, so that if you would like to make your own little tiny peep, you know. Now, and I will say this, that it's like hers is very simple, and I'm not saying these are easy to make. They don't take long at all either. Like, that is the cool thing about it. Now, it's taking me a little bit longer, to say the least, because I'm just going to be honest, because of my hands with my arthritis and that, and carpal tunnel syndrome, I actually have more trouble putting something small like this together than I would if I'm just sitting and crocheting like a whole top, like a cardigan or a blanket or whatnot. This is actually a little more difficult for me to do and keep a hold of. And doing all the single crochet around, so it's a little bit more tedious for me because it's so small. And I'm also, she didn't say in the tutorial what size hook to use, but I actually am just using a 5mm Susan Bates hook on this, so, which is working just fine. But what I was going to say is, there are numerous tutorials I've noticed on these little peeps, because I think that Repeat Crafter Me on YouTube, she's another one that does stuff like this, and I'm pretty sure that she has the same, like, I know she does. She has a pattern for these little peeps as well, and I think there are several others. So you can easily find them on YouTube, even if you didn't want to use the tutorial that I link in the description box. So that's, of course, completely up to you. So I think that was really about all I was going to mention. I just wanted to show these really quick and catch up with everybody. And I also want to try, or I'm planning on anyway, trying to get another video out over this weekend. So we'll see how that plays out, because I'm just really doing like a lot of juggling right now. So hopefully I can get accomplished what I wanted to get accomplished, because I do have something else to show y'all that I've had a couple weeks, another yarn that I purchased, and working that up and whatnot. So I want to try to get that video out this weekend, if at all possible, which I should be able to get that done. I just have a lot of juggling going on, remodeling stuff, just a lot that way too. I really wish I was like 20 years younger, because, so I've done the remodeling thing, like, actually 3 different times. I'm sitting here thinking there was 2, I lived in 2 different houses previously. So the one that burned down, I worked for 2 straight years solid remodeling that house. That house, it was a 13-room house. It was almost 3,200 square foot. That included the 2-car garage. And so the house was huge, and it had been let go like very badly. And we were, you know, we were so extremely fortunate, because whilst the furnace blew up on us, that's not why we were fortunate. The furnace blew up actually on us like a week after we moved into it. That had to be replaced. But at that time, we didn't own the house. We were just renting it from my father-in-law at the time. So it was no big deal. He replaced the furnace, even though that was like a major thing. to do, because the old furnace was like, I mean, the old furnace was huge, and they had to literally cut it up in the basement and bring it up in pieces to get it out of there. But anyway, that got done, and it was no big deal. But we had plumbing things that happened though. So the first year we lived there, we rented it, and we had all kind of plumbing things happen, and it was crazy, literally. You know, plumbing things busting loose here and there. We had the tub drain out into the dining room one morning, basically. So we had to have that fixed. The plumbing busted under the sink in the kitchen and was flooding the floor in the kitchen. We had to have that fixed. One day I heard a pop that was right there by the kitchen, where we had a little tiny small bathroom, and it was a line in there, and water was flooding into the kitchen from that. So we had a lot of stuff, but that was the year we were renting it. Excuse me. We went after that year of living there, and we were just fixing this stuff, you know, left and right. The house was, like I said, the house had been so let go. Y'all, it would have been perfect for a horror movie. This house, when I first walked into it, it was scary looking. It literally had the old, like, 1900s wallpaper, and it was falling off the walls. And I mean, that wallpaper was all over the first floor. It was wild. It was gray color with like cream colored feathers on it. And that paper, it was just, it was literally hanging off the walls, and it was just, that place was, yeah, it was creepy, scary looking. But anyway, so a couple years later though, we actually moved back into it and purchased it. And what I'm saying is, though, we were fortunate though in that, you know, there was plumbing there. There was, you know, there was stuff to work with. By that point, you know, we already had that furnace that was only a couple years old. And so, like, we had the things, like, to work with there. What we've moved into here didn't have all these critical elements, which that's been our biggest, I will just admit, that has been literally the biggest challenge here, because we didn't have all that. This wasn't set up for living. My grandpa built the upstairs with the intention that eventually, in other words, his idea was that somebody, like, it could be lived in eventually if need be. But in other words, there wasn't the plumbing ran up here and all the things, all the stuff and things that you need. But anyway, so 2 straight years I worked on that, and then we also went back and did some remodeling even after the fact. The house looked beautiful and stuff, even when it burnt down, everything still wasn't finished, because by that point I was going back redoing stuff from 20 years ago approximately, you know. But then we had another house within that where we rented and then moved back to that house we had lived in, and we had bought another house, and I had redone that house and sold it, and we actually made profit on it because I remodeled all of it basically outside of, like, the carpet we had installed. Like, everything else was like upgrades and things that I did. So anyway, I've done a lot of this stuff, but I just wish I had, like, the energy that I had back then 20 something years ago, 20 years ago, even. Like, I wish I had that energy, and I wish I wasn't, like, didn't have the disabilities that I do now, because of course every day is a challenge for me. I mean, literally even getting out of bed in the morning is I have to have the will to do that, because because it's a challenge. It's hard. I mean, it hurts. Like, by the time I wake up in the morning, I'm aching all over. So, you know, this is a difficult process that we're living through. And I mean, it's like I said, it's even more challenging because I have the limitations and disabilities that I have now, and I mean, I can't change that. So anyway, so I'm just trying to juggle things around, and we just got a lot going on here, but I wanted to jump on here very quickly and do a little video for you anyway. And you're trying to sit on top of me. And our chair, so my chair, just so y'all know, my chair, I know this looks like, this thing looks totally wonky. So this is not attached yet, but it's literally, it's not sitting wonky like it looks like it is in the video. My daughter and I were trying to figure out yesterday why it looks like it's at an angle, like it's leaning, and I don't know, it's weird because it's literally not. I mean, it's not attached to the rest of the chair yet, like the base of it, but for some strange reason, but it's not sitting in an angle. It's like literally sitting straight up. So we can't figure out why in the world it looks that way. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the way I have my, I don't know, my camera or something set. But anyway, I'm sorry if that's annoying to you, because I know I have OCD, and sometimes when I see things, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to straighten that up. That's driving me crazy. I sometimes am like that. But so if you're one of those, I apologize, because the chair, I don't know why the heck it looks like that. But anyway, so that's going to conclude this video though. And I am excited to see y'all this weekend sometime. Hope y'all have a great weekend and enjoy it. Hope the weather's great where you're at. I think it's supposed to be even warmer, I think, this weekend. Anyway, our temperatures are kind of going back and forth. So I will see you very shortly. God bless y'all, and good night.